Hi, everybody. Welcome to America's Podcast. I'm your host, Don Ledesma, and we are live right now on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else. Man, today's going to be an important podcast. I hadn't done America's Podcast in a while. I've been busy doing other things, but remember, you can follow us on all these platforms right here on audio as well. And, we've been getting out there little by little because we have a lot of information to give out on America's Podcast. This is about America. This is about freedom. This is about everything involved with America's true values, which is the daily living of America, really in reality, if you kind of think about it, right? That's exactly what this podcast is about. And like I said, you can find us on many other platforms as well, right? So, you can catch us live on Spreaker. We're not live right now, but I'll be having an audio podcast here soon. Actually, after this podcast, I'll be having a live one on the audio. And you can catch us there on Spreaker and just kind of enjoy everything that we do there. Of course, we do take live calls as well. Every once in a while, we'll take a live caller from somebody and then we'll hear what they have to say, right? Because, your opinions matter to us here. Today's podcast is going to be pretty important. We're going to talk about everything in general. We're going to talk about things that are happening with Putin, man, and the stuff that he's been doing out there. And it's I don't know what's wrong with this dude, man, but it's getting a little worrisome, really, if you kind of think about it. And I've been just kind of monitoring it. I gave a short, not a podcast, but I just kind of gave you my opinion on my personal page about what I was thinking that was happening, right? To these rocket launches that this dude's doing, and then of course the missiles that were shot off from Ukraine over there that Biden went ahead and said, yeah, go ahead, shoot those missiles off. It caused a lot of issues, man, and this is getting actually deep and it's getting pretty dark, but I'm gonna kind of bring you into that as well. So before we get going, let's thank our military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, even Space Force. Thank you guys for all the service and everything that you do out there. We appreciate you guys 150%. Don't forget, we have a new coffee out. Catch this out. Go to americacoffee.com, america/coffee.com. Go check out our premium roast coffee that we have there. And, it's coming straight from us, man. Right now we have a dark roast, which is amazing taste, man. I drink this stuff like water almost every day, but I love it. And it's got a great flavor to it. Really nutty frost. It's just a great flavor. But go and check out our coffee line. You'll see it on all my links there. Anyway, so let's talk about what the hell's going on over there in Ukraine and what he's doing. So I went on on Infowars, and then I ended up seeing some videos of what this guy was talking about, what Putin was doing. So you're gonna watch a little bit. Putin actually shot off a almost like an ICBM, but not in full force. In other words, he shot out a test weapon at Ukraine. Didn't have nuclear warheads in it. It just had not duds. They were actually warheads, but they were smaller ones. They wanted to make sure that it hit all its targets. And this is a missile that'll shoot off hundreds of miles, right? And what it does is it releases the capsule from the top, and then it shoots out 10 ballistic or 8 ballistic projectiles that come down that are warheads, right? And each one of those warheads hit its mark. Okay, he did this yesterday or the night before. It was been on the news for about 20 hours ago, and to test it to make sure that it worked, and to see if Ukraine would deflect or any NATO would deflect that rocket, and it was not. I repeat, it was not deflected whatsoever. So this is a little bit of what Putin is saying. There's a guy talking for him in the background in English. So just listen to what he has to say here. And I'm going to give part one. This is part one, and then a part two to it.
Of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate range Russian missile system, a ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used. The test was carried out successfully. the objectives of the launch have been met. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them. The ruling elites of the countries are nurturing plans to use their military contingents against Russia should be warned. When choosing measures to be used in response, such as the use of systems that was tested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted. And we will certainly do this in a transparent fashion. And we do not have any fears that it will reduce the effectiveness of those systems, because there is no way to counteract a missile that flies at 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. Existing anti-missile systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles. It is impossible. So, once again,
it's 2 to 3 miles per second that this thing, this hypersonic missile was traveling, that they tested. What you saw firing right there, it's its target that it actually targeted to. So each one of those buildings that they hit, they hit buildings. This was Russia at Ukraine. They shot off that ballistic missile. It opened up and it fired each one of those projectiles at its target, and it hit its target dead to like a foot off. Okay, this is how strategic this missile system is, and he just said it himself. Nobody stopped it. Nobody can stop this from happening. So I'm not here to scare the crap out of people, but this guy's a nut. All right, and I know that we kind of picked at him. Well, not we did. Ukraine did, and they shot off that missile, which actually destroyed a weapons depot. I'm going to show you that video right here real quick and watch exactly what happened and how big this explosion really is. All right. This just happened 3 or 4 days ago. This and then the retaliation from Russia. Okay. Watch this real quick. Now that explosion right there was huge, massive. It made it triggered the earthquake, actually sensors on the ground as a 2.3 magnitude. So that's how big that that explosion was when Ukrainian drone actually hit that bunker, that military ammo bunker there in Russia, and then of course Putin shot off that missile in retaliation, that hypersonic missile. I'm going to give you a part 2, exactly what Alex Jones said about this, and I want you to see this because this is going to talk. Putin's just going to talk a little bit. Then Alex Jones is going to come in and talk about exactly what this meant of what he did. All right, here goes.
Systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles. It is impossible. So, once again, it is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred And we still prefer to resolve our disagreements and using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response.
That was a demonstration of precision ballistic missile with conventional payloads to illustrate that Russia can launch a nuclear attack anywhere they want in the world at any time and drop the warheads down to a few square feet of where they want, and that NATO's anti-missile defense systems and anti-ballistic missile defense systems didn't stop one warhead. So the Russians just simulated a massive nuclear attack on Ukraine. And again, you want to spread the bombs out. It's not just that you detonated 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 feet, depending on the size of the weapon. You also can have it come back into near-Earth atmosphere, and then you can have one MIRV package fire those rockets out over 1,000 or more miles and hit a whole bunch of targets. They just hit that military factory complex and laid them right into, reportedly it hit dead on right in the top of all those factories. Each one went right into the roof, right where they wanted it, to say, you see that? We can shoot this up your ass from Russia. We can shoot this down your chimney.
Exactly. Well, his words, just exactly what he said. Now, this is getting it's getting pretty deep. I don't know if people are just not being alarmed about this for some reason, and they think, well, it's happening over there. It's not happening here in the United States. What is it going to do to? It's not going to do. If they launch one against each other, it ain't going to do nothing. No, it is. That's why they warned Sweden the other day and the other country to prepare for nuclear war, nuclear fallout, actually, because if Putin launches one, the nuclear fallout is going to hit NATO countries, right? This is the devastation that's going to happen afterwards. Which the nuclear fallout is it's radioactive, right? That'll contaminate the ground everywhere, right? And it'll be contaminated for 200 years if they don't if on the surface. It depends how hot that thing burns it, right? So if it hits one of those, if it contaminates any of those NATO countries, then we're part of NATO. Hello. So that means that we have to help them and retaliate against Russia. So yes, it does affect us. Anything that happens over there or in between, it does affect the United States of America. We could be headed for World War III as we speak. And believe me, if this dude launches one nuclear weapon that has 10 or 8 to 10 warheads on it, speaking of, then it can do so much damage that everything we can shoot and retaliate ourselves, but in return, all of humanity will be lost after that. There is no winning. There is no win. I don't care how deep in your bunker you go. You're going to have to stay down there for 200 years. You hear what I'm saying? So it's not going to do you any good to go down in the bunker and to save yourself after you launch the weapon, even from your bunker, and take off, right? It's not going to do you any good. It'll be the end of humanity, really, in reality. The destruction would be horrible. And I'm going to, we have a missile in the United States. It's called a Titan II, right? And a Trident 2. So I'm going to give you a simulation of exactly what this weapon can do. And this is a simulation just if Russia were to throw a nuclear weapon at Ukraine, we get the fallout in Sweden and the other countries. We retaliate and we launch one of these weapons. This is what it'll do. Watch.
Imagine a single Trident II missile launched toward Moscow, with all 8 warheads targeting the same area for maximum effect. The combined explosive yield would be approximately 3.8 megatons of TNT. Upon detonation as an airburst, the immediate fireball would engulf an area over 10 square kilometers, or close to 4 square miles, vaporizing everything within its radius. Buildings would be obliterated within an 11-kilometer or close to 7-mile radius, flattening much of the city center. Thermal radiation would cause third-degree burns to anyone within 22 kilometers, or close to 14 miles from ground zero, covering an area of over 1,500 square kilometers or 580 square miles. The human cost would be staggering, estimated at over 2.8 million immediate fatalities and 4.6 million injuries. And remember, this is from just one Trident II missile. The United States operates 14 Ohio-class nuclear submarines, each capable of carrying up to 20 Trident II missiles.
All right. So now you see what one of these missiles can do and the damage that it can do. Over 2 million people can be killed instantly. And that's 500 miles of anywhere if you're in a major city complex, because that's exactly where they're going to drop one. It's going to be in a major populated area. They're not going to throw it in the middle of nowhere, right? So this is so if you live in a major city, you're probably going to be the target, right? You're not going to live. Okay, it's not going to happen. So this is what's happening right now, and nobody's really talking about it or paying attention. They're throwing it off to the side a little bit. I wouldn't. I wouldn't throw it off to the side. I would pay attention to your podcasts, pay attention to your news. Uh, a lot of times the news will not have it. You have to go to like Euro News, things like that, to where they're really talking about it, and because it's affecting Europe, right, and a lot of other countries as well. And I mean, you might find it on Yahoo. I've been actually looking on the internet, right, and finding these these actually articles that they were talking about with Putin, right? And sometimes you have to read a little bit, right? And this reading is knowledge, right? So not just listening to podcasts or just watching it on TV, whatever, but do a little bit of reading and research so that way you know that exactly what is happening, right? And it's a sad thing that what Putin is doing. He's threatening actually of using a nuclear warhead, right? Their systems, okay, I don't know if you guys know this, their systems are separated from the world systems. So it has a backup system. Let's just say, like you just saw the scenario of Russia there, right? Let's just say they drop a nuclear bomb inside of Russia. Boom, takes it all out. It's not going to stop their weapons. Their systems are set automatically that if nobody responds to turn the button off manually or anything the system automatically is going to shoot off over 240 freaking missiles to its selected targets around the world, and it only takes 30 minutes for one of those ICBMs to get here, right, or get in any country or less if it's close by. So that's how long it's going to take for an ICBM to get here. Intercontinental ballistic missile, right? Think about that just for a minute. They are not part of the world systems. They have separated themselves. This is why he's doing and saying what he's saying. Now, I've talked about it before about, if I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Gaddafi and the things that he was doing, and he was kind of being a dictator, same thing, threatening people, killing people, doing it. And the United States got tired of it. This guy was just jumping into countries and going ahead and taking over. What did they do? They dropped a bomb on his lap, literally on his lap while he was sitting there. Okay. So boom, Gaddafi disappeared. Poof, in midair, right? This is what happens to when somebody is a nut like that and wants to just take over everything and take everything. And I think, I hate to say it, but I think this is what they need to do. Uh, They have to be. I know this administration right now that we have is not going to do it. I already know that. But when the new administration comes in, I know that he is probably going to threaten in that fashion, like he did the president of Mexico. Okay, did the same thing to the president of Mexico. We've all heard that story. He told him, "Hey, stop your crap, stop your people, stop all this drugs, or what?" He says. Trump handed him a picture of his house. He goes, "Why are you having me a picture of my house?" He goes, "You think about it." Gets up and he walks away. All right. So, and then it immediately stopped right after that. Okay. So this is what you have to do sometimes. I'm sorry if this is just what you have to do, because these people are crazy and they don't care. They'll take as millions of people with them. Okay. I'm talking about Putin. If you let him have his way. So everybody out there, you need to watch your news diligently, listen to your podcasts about this nuclear warfare that's happening. It's happening, man. This is happening. There's war games, and they're not games. They're actually throwing bombs at each other with smaller little bombs inside of there. The super hypersonic missile that Putin just shot, it didn't have nuclear heads in there. It should have. He didn't put those in there. He just put regular ones in there just to test the waters. Let's test it. Make sure it works. Let's see if anybody deflects it or blocks this missile. And they didn't, right? So he knows that he can do it and get away with it, right? Let's not let that happen, all right? I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention here on this platform. Thank you guys for watching today. I hope you guys have got a little bit out of it. Stay cautious, man. Stay cautious. Start, if you take medications, stock up on your medications, stock up on some canned foods, rice, beans, things like that. You never know, man. It's just, you never know, right? You never know when something's going to happen. And that's the scary part about this, that you never know when something's going to happen. And always stock up on everything, right? Let's see. And it's somebody's talking on YouTube. The American version of the poly implant and people's liberal simulation means that it's very obvious. And well, maybe. So it's one of those things that we have to just stay on top of it regardless, because to tell you the truth, left, right, in between, in this case, none of that matters anymore, right? Because it's already gone past the point of no return. It's already past that. In other words, we can point fingers at anybody, this administration, the last administration, the new administration, but it doesn't matter. The things have been set in motion already. Okay. This is exactly what's happening. So we have to be prepared. This is all I'm telling you, man. I was a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, we blow, all that good stuff, right? I'm always prepared. Always, man. That's just me. I'm not a prep or anything like that, but I could pretty much survive. You got to do what you got to do, right? And it's like I told my wife, if anything ever happened, the crap hit the fan, I'm eating everything. I don't care what it is. Cats, dogs, rats, possums, everything, right? Hey, because that's a survivalist mentality. It's not, ooh, it's gross. No, man, it's survival, man, because you're going to be fighting thousands of people as well. It's going to be chaotic, even if anybody survives this kind of stuff. I'm just saying, man, just be prepared for what could possibly happen. And it doesn't matter at this point. We've already passed that, the point of no return, right? And I just want to make sure that everybody is out there and just kind of praying on this, man, that this dude doesn't freaking launch one. I mean, they deflected some of them. I have an article here from Yahoo, right? That they actually deflected some of them. This says, let's see. Putin said that they televised the address of the strike test, a new weapon, and Russia reserved the right to strike countries that provide weapons to Ukraine against attacks in its Russian territory, right? So And then it says the defense deputy press secretary Sabrina Singh told reporters that the missile was a new experimental type of intermediate range ballistic missile. So, and this is what Putin was saying too. It was just an intermediate. It wasn't one of the the big ones that they have, right? Intercontinental. And he just said that they experimented with this ballistic missile. It was designed an RS-26 Rusbesh intercontinental ballistic missile. It says this type of new lethal capability was deployed on the battlefield. So was certainly a concern, right? In other words, they're concerned about it. And it says Russia notified U.S. officials about the attack. He had already told the U.S., hey, I'm going to do this. So you better stay out of it, right? Using nuclear risk reduction communication channels, she said the missile can carry a conventional or a nuclear warhead. Bam! That's what we just talked about a minute ago, right? This is exactly what's happening, man, out there. These people are conducting this business while we're just working Joe Schmo and Jane Schmain, going to work every day and not paying attention. And all of a sudden you see this flash and it's over, man. Because these people are just doing what they're going to do, right? It says, I agree with you. It says, liberty always turns to the anarchy, and the anarchy always turns into tyranny. So it could come to that. This is unnamed podcast uprising. Oh, awesome! Thank you for watching. Yeah, yeah, man, and it's a scary thing. It's a totally scary thing here, because it's all about power, really, in reality. And we're just the ants. We're just the ants that are in between. Or I don't know if you saw that movie, Twins, right? And so Arnold Schwarzenegger was and Danny DeVito were twins, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger was the perfect specimen that they did, and then Danny DeVito came out, and he was just what they told him. The doctor says, well, you're just the crap that was left over. So he didn't get all the stars and everything right from it. In other words, the people right now, all the ants on the ground, which is us, we're just the crap. We're not the part of the political side. And these people are just want to take over, man. That's basically all it is. Putin wants all that territory. Anything that stands in his way is just crap, right? Which is people, innocent lives. Man, I don't know if you saw, right before he attacked Ukraine, he was doing these. They were just saying he was just playing war games, yada yada, and then bam, he goes in there. I see videos on X of these old couple in their car, and this tank goes in there and blows them to hell. This little old man and this old lady, they could care crap for people. All right. So when you watch X, I watch X a lot, man. X, there's no filter. All right. You're going to see exactly what's happening. If you're watching the war between Ukraine and Russia, it's brutal, man. It is freaking brutal. These guys are killing each other like nothing, right? Life means nothing to these people during war, right? So let's not let this escalate a lot higher than it is. Let's keep this down to a minimal. Let's watch this. Let's pray on this and make sure that this nut doesn't go any forward than this. I hope that Ukraine does not shoot off another one of those missiles. And remember, Biden gave them $250 million of cash. Okay. He came in when he was here. He went to, I think it was Pennsylvania, a military weapons place, and bought some weapons. How did he get it there? I don't know. And then he launched one, which you just saw the video of, right? I'm sure they called him the next day or whatever and told him, hey, Zelensky, cut your crap. Don't shoot another one, man. That's got our name all over it. I don't know if you used to listen to Rush Limbaugh or any of those other cats out there, or even the new guys back in the day, or anybody out there. They said, man, if they find a piece of rubble that's got an American flag on it, it's ours, man. And that's basically ours. It's like us doing it, right? It's like somebody getting your own gun and you letting them have it. Go ahead. go ahead and shoot and kill that person with it. Right? The gun has your name. The serial numbers have your name all over it. Right? Same thing applies. Right? Remember that. Just because he went and came and bought it didn't mean that it's theirs. No, we contributed to that by allowing it to happen that way. Why do you think Hezbollah and all those people, they made their own weapons out of tubes and PVC, and they use propane tanks and everything? They, for 2 to 3 years, they made nothing but their own missiles. Thousands and thousands of them out of piping. They were planning everything to use their own stuff. Because we pulled their money from their pockets, which is Iran, right? Same thing applies. We gave this dude some money. That was a big no-no. Shouldn't have did that. Anyway, that kind of put us in deeper doo-doo, if you think about it now. So, man, I just hope this doesn't get past this, what it just did. And let's just make sure that it doesn't happen. Hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Like I said, thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the podcast person out there on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. And thank you for your input. I love to hear people's input in the background. It's important, man. It's important. Don't forget to catch us on Spreaker here shortly. I'm going to be having an audio podcast here on America's Podcast. And, like I said, thank you to America's military. We love you guys all the time. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, and Space Force. Man, I just love to try to get in a Space Force. I want to see what they do. It intrigues me, man. I'm superly intrigued about Space Force. It just sounds so cool, right? It just, I don't know, man. But all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Hope you have a great day. Don't forget to follow us on all these platforms here on audio. We're on everywhere. You can even ask your Alexa to play some of this, and it'll play some America's Podcast. I hope you guys appreciate it. And our video here on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. All right, guys, thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you. Have a good one. Have a safe one. Don't forget, catch America's Coffee as well. Go to all my links there, or you'll see it on the description. Click on that. Go check it out. Have a good day. America first.